Hi there, this is Lainie with Lainie Sips. On this episode of Lainie Sips, I'm going to be answering a question that I get a lot, and that question is it ever acceptable to use a French press coffee maker to infuse loose leaf tea? I'm going to answer this question in three parts, okay? And the first part of my answer is very simple. Yes, of course. No reason why you shouldn't be able to use a French press to infuse loose leaf tea. There's plenty of room for the leaves to move around. It's glass, so you can peer in and see them unfurl, which is kind of cool. The lid and the press act as great filters, so there's absolutely no reason why you can't use this device to infuse your tea. Now, the second part of my answer actually consists of a couple of warnings. The first warning is that to keep in mind, as always, tea is a flavor and scent sponge. It will absorb any flavors and scents it is exposed to. Now, glass in a French press does not really absorb any flavors or scents, although plastic parts may do so, so you need to be careful about that. But a residue can develop on the glass and on the various parts. Remember, coffee gets its flavors and scents through oils, and the oils can linger on glass and whatever parts are in here. So what I would say is that you must be very scrupulous about keeping your French press very, very clean. And that means not just giving it a rinse after dumping out the grounds. You need to give it a good scrub with a good dish soap, rinse it very, very thoroughly. And then what I would suggest doing is dry it very thoroughly, and then store it like this, put the lid back on and let it sit overnight. The next day, give it a sniff. If you're still smelling coffee on there, that coffee smell and flavor is going to end up in your tea. So you need to re-clean the French press. All right? So the second thing that I would also say is never actually press the tea. You never want to squeeze the flavor out of the leaf. What you're going to get is a whole lot of bitter and disagreeable oils and whatnot coming out of those tea leaves. So you don't even have to press it down, and you can actually infuse it like this and pour it like this. If you want to press it down a little bit, that's fine, but make sure it stops above the tea leaves. All right? Now, the third part of my answer to this question is a little more philosophical. I understand that a person may want to use a French press for both their coffee and for their tea. For economic reasons, it's just a lot less expensive to have just one set of tea and coffeeware. You may want to do that because you're living in very cramped quarters. And again, I understand wanting to save space. I would also say, though, that for many of us, including myself, tea is more than just a beverage. There is a ritual that we follow when infusing our tea. Even the choice of teaware. I have different types of teaware. I will use gai wans, which are Chinese covered cups for Chinese teas. I might use a yixing pot, which is a clay pot. I might use a glass pot or a ceramic pot for Sri Lankan teas or Indian teas. There's a real process to this ritual. Choosing the teaware, using the teaware properly, and making that lovely cup of tea. What's happening is when I go to my cabinet, I am pulling out the teaware as I'm pulling myself out of the hustle and bustle of my day. And this is a ritual that nurtures me. And when I offer tea to people and I make tea for them according to this ritual, I'm nurturing them as well. And while it's very convenient to make your tea in a French press or any other kind of all-in-one infuser, I would just, answer this question with a question of my own. Why are you drinking tea? Why are you drinking loose leaf tea? And isn't it maybe worth it to set aside your own tools, or tea's own tools for tea? Just a way of thinking about it. All right? So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.